Victoria Chan stood in her pristine downtown apartment, the city lights of Seattle glittering through floor to ceiling windows like cold diamonds. 3 months had passed since the divorce was finalized. 3 months since she did walked away from Daniel Riviera. 3 months since she did walked away from Daniel Riviera, her husband of 7 years, convinced that freedom meant something more than the quiet life they did build together. The apartment was everything she did wanted, modern, sophisticated, in the heart of the action. Yet tonight, like so many nights before, the silence pressed against her chest like a physical weight. She poured herself wine she didn't want and scrolled through her phone. Her social media showed a highlight reel of her new life: gallery openings, rooftop bars, networking events with Seattle tech elite. But the comments had grown sparse, the invitations less frequent. The friends she did prioritized over Daniel had moved on to fresher stories. Victoria set down her phone and walked to the bedroom, opening the drawer where she did hidden it, a photo from their honeymoon in Santorini, Daniel's arm around her waist, both of them laughing at something now forgotten. His eyes had held such warmth then, such such unshakable devotion. She remembered their last his eyes had held such warmth then, such unshakable devotion. She remembered their last real conversation before everything fell apart. They did been in their old kitchen, the one with the herbs growing on the wind. They, they did been in their old kitchen, the one with the herbs growing on the windowsill, that Daniel tended every morning. I feel like I'm disappearing, she did told him, frustrated over another argument about her late nights and weekend work trips. I need more than this domestic routine. Daniel had looked at her with those steady brown eyes, trying to understand. What do we need to do? What do we need that we don't have, Wick? I'm here. I love you. Isn't that enough? But it had been. But it but it hadn't been. She did wanted passion, excitement, the feeling of being desired by someone who wasn't just there, but who chased her, challenged her, made her feel alive in ways she couldn't articulate. She didn't had the affair, just once, with a colleague during a conference in San Francisco. It meant nothing, a drunken mistake fueled by attention and champagne. But she did confess it to Daniel, perhaps hoping it would shake him awake, make him fight for her. Instead, he did simply nodded. I understand. He did said quietly, you want something I can't give you. The divorce had been swift, almost surgical. Daniel hadn't fought, hadn't begged, He did sign the papers, packed his things, and left her the apartment that they'd bought together. His final words echoed in her memory. I hope you find what you were looking for. Now, holding that photograph, Victoria felt something crack inside her chest. The excitement she did craved had faded into loneliness. The passion had been hollow, and Daniel, steady, reliable Danny, was gone. She needed to know if he was okay, if he thought about her, if maybe somehow there was a chance to undo the catastrophic mistake she had made. Victoria picked up her laptop and typed Private Investigator, Seattle, into the search bar. Her hands trembled slightly as she clicked on the first result, Northwest Investigations. We find the truth. We find the truth. Tomorrow. We find the truth. Tomorrow she would call them. Tomorrow she would find Daniel. And maybe, just maybe, she could find her way back to the life she did thrown away. She needed to know if he was okay, if he thought about her, if maybe somehow there was a chance to undo the catastrophic mistake she did made. Victoria picked her laptop and typed Private Investigator, Seattle, into the search bar. Her hands trembled slightly as she clicked on the first result, Northwest Investigations. We found the truth. Tomorrow she would call them. Tomorrow she would find Daniel. And maybe, just maybe, she could find her way back to the life she did thrown away. The office of the Northwest Investigations occupied the third floor of an older building in Belltown. A stark contrast, a stark, a stark contrast to the gleaming tech offices Victoria frequented. Raymond Park, the investigator, was in his 50s with graying hair and the patient demeanor of someone who did heard every story twice. I need to find my ex-husband, Victoria said, settling into the warm leather chair across from his desk. We divorced 3 months ago. His name is Daniel Riviera. Raymond pulled out a notepad. May I ask why you're looking for him? Victoria hesitated. The truth felt too vulnerable to speak aloud. I need closure, she finally said. We didn't. I didn't end things well. I just want to know he's okay. Raymond studied her face with the practiced eye of someone who could read between the lines. Does he know you're looking for him? No. And if he doesn't? And if he doesn't want to be found? The question hung in the air like smoke. Victoria hadn't considered that possibility. Not really. In her mind, Daniel was probably in some small apartment somewhere, still healing, maybe still hoping she did realize her mistake. Just find him, she said. Please. Raymond nodded and took down the details. Daniel's last known address, his employer, his family connections. Victoria found herself taking Victoria found herself talking more than necessary, describing the man she did left behind. His love of early morning runs, his habit of listening to jazz while cooking, the way he did always made her bed with hospitable corners, even when she teased him about it. He sounds like a good man, Raymond observed. He was, Victoria whispered. He is. That evening, Victoria found herself driving past their old neighborhood. The Craftman, the Craftman house they did rented for 5 years, stood on a quiet street lined with maple trees. Different plants on the porch. She remembered Sunday morning there. She remembered Sunday mornings there, Daniel bringing her coffee in bed, the weight of his body as he did slip back under the covers, his hands warm against her skin. They did make love slowly in the morning light, unhurried and tender. She did felt safe then, cherished in a way she did somehow convince herself was boring. God, what I have done. God, what have I done? Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus Liang, the colleague she did slept with. Drinks tonight, Victoria deleted it without responding. Whatever she did thought she wanted, the thrill, the danger, the validation, had revealed itself as fool's gold. Marcus had moved on to someone else within weeks. The whole thing felt sordid in retrospect, a moment of selfishness that had cost her everything real. She drove home through rain-slick streets, her vipers beating a steady rhythm. Back in her apartment, she poured the expensive wine down the sink and made tea instead. Chamomile, the kind Daniel used to make, the kind Daniel used to make for her when she couldn't sleep. Her phone rang. Raymond Park? Miss Chan, I've made some initial progress. It appears Mr. Riviera left Seattle about 2 months ago. I've tracked him to a smaller city. I should have a full report for you by the end of the week. Victoria's heart hammered. Did you? Does he know you're looking? Not yet. I'll be in touch. The line went dead, leaving Victoria alone with her hope and her fear. Five days later, Victoria sat in Raymond Park's office again, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles had gone white. A manila folder lay on the desk between them.
Innocuous.
Innocuous.
Innocuous and terrible. Before I show you this, Raymond said carefully, I need to tell you something. I made contact with Mr. Riviera yesterday. Victoria's breath caught. You talked to him? What did he say? Did he ask about me? Raymond's expression was gentle but firm. He asked me not to provide his contact information to you. The words landed like a physical blow. Victoria felt the room tilt slightly, her vision narrowing. He what? He was polite but very clear. He's aware you hired me to find him, and he specifically requested that I not facilitate any communication between you. But why? I just want to talk to him. I need to explain. Miss Chan, Raymond slid the folder across the desk. Perhaps this will help you understand. With trembling hands, Victoria opened the report. Inside were photographs, documents, a detailed narrative of Daniel's new life. He did move to Bellingham, a smaller coastal city 2 hours north of Seattle. The first photograph showed him outside a modest but charming house near the water, with a small garden visible in the front yard. He looked different, thinner, maybe, but there was something else, a calmness in his posture she did never notice before. Daniel, more photographs. Daniel at a coffee shop, reading. Daniel running along the waterfront at sunrise. Daniel at what appeared to be a community center, teaching something to a group of people gathered around him. He's teaching cooking classes, Raymond explained, twice a week at the local communities at the local community center. He also started working part-time at an articu- He also started working part-time at an architectural firm. He also started working part-time at an architectural firm, smaller projects than what he did in Seattle, but apparently he's enjoying the change of pace. Victoria's eyes filled with tears as she continued through the report. Daniel had joined a running club. He did adopt a dog. He did adopted a dog, a golden retriever named Arlo. According to the investigator's notes, he did been seen having dinner with a woman twice, though Raymond's inquiries suggested they were just friends, both part of the same running group. He seems happy, Victoria whispered, the words ashes in her mouth. He does, Raymond agreed quietly. I spoke with some people in his building. Very discreetly. They described him as a friendly, helpful, someone who's become part of the community quickly. He helps his elderly neighbor with her groceries every week. He's coaching a kids' soccer team on weekends. Victoria started at a photograph of Victoria stared at a photograph of Daniel laughing with the running club, his head thrown back in genuine joy. This wasn't the broken man she had imagined. This wasn't someone consumed by loss or waited. This wasn't someone consumed by loss or waiting for her to come back. This was someone who did moved on, who did rebuild, who did take in the pieces of himself she did shattered and created something new, something that apparently didn't include her. There's there's one more thing, Raymond said, pulling out a final document. When I contacted him, he asked me to give you this message if you requested it. He handed her a small card with Daniel's handwriting. I forgive you, Victoria. Please let me go. Victoria barely remembered leaving Raymond's office. The report burned in her bag like contraband as she walked through Seattle's drizzle, her designer coat offering no warmth against the chill that had settled in her bones. Please let me go. 4 words that destroyed her last illusion. That somewhere Daniel was waiting, that love could be resurrected through apology alone, that she could undo her betrayal with enough remorse. She found herself in her car, driving north on I-5 without conscious decision. Bellingham, she needed to see him to make him understand that she did made a terrible mistake. that she did changed, that she finally recognized what she did lost. The 2 hour drive passed in a blur of rain and desperation. By the time she reached Bellingham, it was late afternoon. She used the address from the report, a neighborhood of older homes near Boulevard Park. She used the address from the report, a neighborhood of older homes near Boulevard Park. The bay stretched gray and restless beyond. Daniel's house was exactly as it appeared in the photographs, a small blue craftsman with white trim, a newly planted garden in front, a porch with 2 chairs. His car was in the driveway. Victoria sat in her vehicle across the street, her heart hammering. What was she doing? She did explicitly ask to be left alone, but surely he saw her. If they talked face to face, he did understand the depth of her regret. She was about to open her car door when his front door opened. Daniel emerged with Arlo, the golden retriever, bounding ahead on a leash. He was wearing running clothes, his hair slightly longer than before, his face relaxed in the evening light. Victoria froze, watching him. He looked so at peace. He fundamentally okay in a way she did never seen. Victoria froze, watching him. He looked so at peace, so fundamentally okay in a way she did never seen during their marriage. Had she been the thing weighing him down? Had she been the had she been the thing weighing him down? Had her constant dissatisfaction, her restless ambition, her need for something more been slowly suffocating him? Daniel began jogging down the street with Arlo. Victoria ducked lower in her seat as he passed, close enough that she close enough that she could have called out. She watched him round the corner toward the waterfront trail, his stride easy and free. She sat there for another hour as twilight deepened. Lights came on in neighboring houses. A woman, the one from the running club photos, jogged past Daniel's house and waved at someone inside. Friendly, familiar. Part of his new life. Victoria remembered their last intimate night together. Before everything fell apart, they did make love in their old bedroom. And she did felt distant even then, her mind already halfway out the door. Daniel had held her afterward, his fingers tracing patterns on her shoulder, and whispered, I love you so much, Vic. I did do anything to make you happy. She did stay silent, already knowing she was going to leave, already fantasizing about the excitement waiting for her in her new life. Now, sitting in the dark outside his new home, she finally understood. Daniel Daniel had done everything to make her happy. He did been steady. She He did been steady when she craved chaos. He did been loyal when she needed temptation. He did offered her roots when she wanted wings, and she did thrown it all away for nothing. Victoria started her car and drove back to Seattle through the darkness, leaving Daniel to his peace. 2 weeks passed like a fever dream. Victoria went through the motions of her life: work meetings, gym sessions, the occasional dinner with acquaintances, the occasional dinner with acquaintances who felt more like strangers, but everything felt hollow, a performance for an audience of none. She did place Raymond's report in a drawer, but found herself pulling it out every night, studying the photographs of Daniel's new life like artifacts from an archaeological dig of her own destruction. On a Thursday evening, unable to bear it any longer, she violated his wishes one final time. She drove back to Bellingham and positioned herself at a coffee shop near his house, the same one from the photographs. Daniel walked in at 7:30, just as she hoped, just as she did hoped. He didn't see her at first, focused on ordering his usual Americano, black, no sugar. Some things hadn't changed. When he turned with his coffee, their eyes met. For a moment, everything stopped. She saw recognition flare in his face, followed by something that looked like profound sadness. He walked over slowly and sat down across from her without invitation. Victoria, his voice was quieter than she remembered, but steadier too. The investigator told me you might not respect my boundaries. Daniel, please. Just 5 minutes. I need you to hear me. I know what you're going through. I know what you're I know what you're going to say. He wrapped his hands around his coffee mug, his wedding ring, conspicuously absent. You're sorry? You made a mistake. You realize now what you lost? You want another chance. The accuracy of his prediction left her speechless. I've had 3 months to think about everything, Daniel continued, about what went wrong, about what I could have done differently. And here's what I realized: I wasn't enough for you because I couldn't be, not because I didn't love you enough, but because you needed to be unhappy. You needed something to chase, something to fix, something missing. And I was too stable, too present, too there. Tears spilled down Victoria's cheeks. That's not fair, isn't it, Wick? I gave you everything I had. Every morning I woke up trying to be a better husband, and it was never enough because you didn't want a partner. You wanted a challenge. You wanted to feel like you were winning something. His words cut because they were true. She had treated their marriage like a problem to solve rather than a gift to cherish. When you left, Daniel said softly, when you told me about the affair, I was devastated, but I was also, God help me, relieved. Because I finally understood it wasn't about me. I couldn't fix what was broken because I wasn't what was broken. I know that now, Victoria whispered. Daniel, I have changed. I see it all so clearly. Maybe you have. His eyes held compassion, but also something immovable. But I've changed too. I've learned what it feels like to not constantly worry if I'm enough, to not wake up anxious. But I have changed too. I've learned what it feels like to not constantly worry if I'm enough, to not wake up anxious that you are slipping away, to just be. He stood up, leaving his coffee unfinished. I do forgive you, Victoria. I meant that. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It means letting go. I love you, she said desperately. I know, he replied, but I love myself more now. And that's something I learned after you left. Daniel walked out of the coffee shop, out of her life, leaving Victoria with the devastating truth. She did search for him, hoping to find the man she did left behind, only to discover he did become something she no longer had the right to know. She sat alone with her cold coffee, finally understanding that some doors once closed locked from the other side. The life she did chased had been an illusion. The life she did destroyed had been real. And the man she did lost had found something better himself.